Hi, thanks for joining me today. Are you finding that your stepchild is behaving in a much younger way than their years, but they kind of act childlike? And even their parent may be treating them as though they're a much younger child. Subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, and I'll let you know every time I post. One of the things that can happen when there's been a family breakup or a bereavement or a trauma of some kind is that people can get stuck in the time when that happened. People can get stuck into some kind of like time lock where time stands still at that point. This is, I would say, very common in step families. Children can behave as though they're much younger than their actual age. There are lots of sort of signs for this. They can behave in babyish ways. They can talk in babyish ways, use little spoons to eat when really they should be using adult implements. Or they may demand attention in a very childish way, or have very childish habits, or stick rigidly to routines and little things that have to happen, which at certain times of day, which are kind of like, well, they should have moved on from that, and really they need to grow up. And a step parent can come into a family and find this. This is also true of the child's parent. The child's parent can be so wanting to go back to that period when the breakup happened and to undo any damage that might have been done, so they sort of continue to treat their children as though they're a much younger child. They can sort of pamper to them, accommodate them, make allowances, support the child in continuing to adopt these childish ways. They can parent the child as if they are much younger. So the parent too hasn't sort of moved on and isn't treating the child in a sort of child appropriate way for that age. They might now be a lot older, a teenager even, and they're treating them like they're a 5-year-old. And then suddenly you realise that the big breakup or the problem or the grief or the trauma, so to speak, happened when the child was 5. So sometimes it's possible to pinpoint exactly when the trauma happened without even knowing when. Because you can say, a parent who's treating a child in this way, how old would that child be if you were thinking about it? And you say, oh, well, that's like treating a child who's 9 or treating a child who's 3 or 5 or whatever. And it's almost certain that you can pinpoint when the trauma happened without even knowing when it was. So when you're a step parent in this situation, it's very easy for you to come in and see that things haven't moved on, and the child should be expected to do X, Y, and Z now, and shouldn't have to behave in this way, ask for things in this way, do things in this particular way. But what one has to realise is that the family is trying to sort of keep everything together and good as it should have been back then, and they haven't moved on. That's all this is about. And yet so often step parents will say their behaviour is so childish, or the parent is treating the child as though they're a baby or a young child instead of the child the age they are. They should be asked to be doing different things, and they're not. And it can be extremely frustrating. So, as a step-parent, you are in a position to be able to help if the family are open to this, because you can spot that they're stuck in some kind of time warp. And it's not really good for the child to be treated like a much younger child when they're much older. It may be better if things did move on. And once you've spotted that this is the problem that you have, then hopefully you can stop being so angry about it, because it is annoying when children are treated much younger than their age, or children behave when they're much younger than their age. But once you've spotted it, recognise it for what it is. You're stuck in some kind of time warp. And then what you need to do is set about changing things when you can. Habits are difficult to change, and children will stick to what they know and love, and parents can be quite reluctant to move on. But if you can stop being annoyed about it, and in a gentle and nice way, when opportunities arise, point out that this is what's going on here, then gradually, little by little, things can get better and move on, and the child can be treated in an age-appropriate way, and the parent can parent in an age-appropriate way. You're just stuck. And moving on is possible to do. Recognising what it is helpful. We run workshops, sessions, an email response service, and we write booklets. You can find links to our social media and our website in the description box below.